Hello and welcome to another exciting breakfast with Unity. So today we're going to be playing around with the UI buttons. I thought that we had not used them at all before. We actually did use them on one episode, The Time Slow, but we only went on them kind of briefly. I'm just going to create a few buttons. We're going to use some scripts that we already have and just hook things up and see what type of problems we run into and what you need to do to make a function that's available to a button. So let's start by creating a new scene. That's not where scenes are. New scene. Boop. And we're going to save this scene. We're going to call this UI buttons. And we're going to put it in the folder that I already made. Save. So, let's start by creating a button. So UI, we're going to have a button. And, let's see. So what I'm going to do is, let's play around with, so we've got this crossfade system and crossfade example. Let's see if we can figure out a way to make this happen where we can invoke this whenever we press a button rather than when we press a key. I'm going to probably duplicate this example so that we don't have problems where someone goes back and the example doesn't work the same way. And we're going to call this crossfade. We're going to call this. How do we call it on the crossfade scene? Is crossfade to scene on new button? Okay, well, we're going to call this crossfade functions is what I'm going to call it. Did we set this up? Oh, we did not set this up as a... Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so the crossfade stuff is actually built into... That's right. That's the actual thing that's doing the work is the screen wipe here. Maybe these have the functions we already want. Let's just play around with it, shall we? So on our button, we can, we may not use this crossfade functions. And actually, I'm just going to delete it for now just because I'm not sure what we're doing. We go into this button and there's this on-click handler here and we can add stuff to it. So if we add something, it asks for an object and a function. So notice, because it requires an object reference, you can't just directly access a global, like a static function. There's no option for that, unfortunately. I don't think, at least. Hold on. If I do none, yeah, you can't select anything. If I select the button itself, you'll see that you only have access to things that are on that button. So anything that we have set up as kind of a singleton type method or as a some sort of global thing, we can't just directly use that. So we have to have an object that has that on it. This is not a mono behavior. It is a mono behavior. How? Hold on. Sorry. I'm going to look at our crossfade example real quick. I just am curious how we did this. Yeah, sure. Save it. If we did, so if we do scenery, cube, direction light. Okay, so we need to put screen wipe on a manager. That makes sense. All right, cool. So that actually means that we might be able to use that. So let's give that a shot. So we're going to go to UI buttons. We're going to create a new game object, empty. We're going to do I'm going to call this screen wipe manager. We're going to throw screen wipe on here. And now if we go into our button, let's see if we can just get access to some of these functions. So if we put our screen wipe manager in here, do we have access to anything? Screen wipe? Yep, we've got a few of them. So so do we have an actual screen wipe in here? Initialize screen wipe. No, it doesn't look like we do. So let's take a look at the script real quick. Of course, this is in JavaScript. All right. Because I don't feel like going through all this, let's not worry about screen wipes just yet. Let's look at what we can do with our our audio crossfade. So we've got this music manager thing. We're going to put this in the scene. Create empty music manager. And we're going to put our music manager on the music manager. And this thing has a function for crossfading between tracks. This also we should have on here, which I don't have on here. We don't require component on here. So if we hit play right now, we're gonna have a problem because the music manager will. Well, if we tried to crossfade, we'd have a problem because it expects to have an audio component and it doesn't have one. So we're gonna give it an audio component. I'm just gonna use one of our tracks that we had before. We'll do the volatile reaction thing again, and so if we hit play, we should get music. There we go. If we turn off play, we don't have the music anymore. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into our button and see what we can get access to here. And I have a feeling we're not going to be able to access anything. We're going to have to make a few little changes. So we've got functions here, music manager, and yeah. And I think this is the same problem we have with the crossfade example. I just forgot that it was in JavaScript, and I didn't want to subject you guys to have to learn JavaScript for this episode. And follow along with that. But basically, you can't use static functions in these. They have to be non-static. And static functions are super useful. Like the reason they are useful for us is because it means you can call them from any script, but we can't call them when from the Unity's event system. It just doesn't support it. So let's go to our music manager and see if we can fix that without losing our capabilities. So we have this public static void crossfade. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a public static void. Actually, I'm just going to try something. I'm going to try overloading this. I don't think this is valid, but I want to give it a shot. Crossfade. And we just do the same thing. We're just going to boop. So we do this, and what it will do is... Let's just see what happens if we save this. I'm just curious what kind of compile errors we may get. Yep. Already defined. So you can't overload it that way. So trying to think how to reorganize this so it's useful. And also, this is a music manager from another scene. Nah, dang it. So none of these are really good. So I want to do this in the way that we don't break what we already have if we change anything to this file. So I'm going to go ahead and just call it button crossfade because that's what we're going to be using it for. And all it's going to do is it's just going to invoke crossfade and pass in the parameters. Oops. Well, we don't need to have them declared. We just need the names. And we can't have the default here, of course. So if we save this, does this compile? Let's see what we get. Yay, all right. So if we now attach this to a button, I'm still not 100% sure this will work. We're kind of playing around here. So music manager, yeah, it's still not showing up. And I think part of the reason is because it's multi-parameter. Let's try that, or it's a parameter that I can't support, probably. I'm going to just quickly delete. I'm going to delete both these parameters for right now. We're just going to do a little test here. Save. Play. So we go to the music manager. And button crossfade shows up. So this exists. That's great. Let's try it with one parameter. We're going to find out what the limitations of this event system is. So let's just do new track, save. Can we still do it? So music manager, it hasn't compiled yet. Okay, now music manager, button crossfade audio clip. So it supports a single parameter, so that's cool. Now let's see if it goes away if we add the second parameter again, which it probably will. Fade time. File save. Has it recompiled? Okay, if I change it and go back, oh, it's still there. Did I actually save file? No, I did. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to just do no function real quick. We're going to go to, oh, there's a problem. Identifier expected. Oh, yeah, sorry. It didn't compile. So, float, fade time, save. Okay, so we still see it there, and there's the pause. Okay, you know that it recompiled at that point. And it goes away. So it only supports single parameter things here. And that's not a big problem. Though it does limit you in certain aspects. You might have to do some workaround type stuff if you need to pass a lot of values in or create helper functions to do so. So we're just going to do the single value one, and we're just going to pass that in to our crossfade. So it'll use our default fade time as opposed to a specified one. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. We're going to go to Music Manager, button crossfade, and we're going to use the second audio clip here as an example. So Vadodora chill mix. So if we hit play here, we should get music. Music, hello. We have volatile reaction. We hit play. Huh. That's odd. Oh. How did this get turned off? Hold on. I want to check something real quick. Okay. No idea when that happened. But it's working now. So maybe I clicked it. Maybe I thought I clicked loop and I accidentally clicked play on awake. It is the morning. So we're going to hit play and I'm going to hit the button and it will crossfade to our new track. Now, the only problem is we can't do a toggle fade at this point because if we crossfade, it's going to crossfade to the track that we chose. Keep that in mind for right now. Now, we might be able to do that with a toggle. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going to do a little experiment here. This is how you learn sometimes, right? You gotta test the limits of what you can do. So let's put our music manager on here, and so the thing is, we have this dynamic bool thing. So is there a way we can somehow use the dynamic bool to do that? So what this means is it will actually correspond to whatever this value is, and I think so. We really can't. We really can't use this. This is really not an option here. I was just looking around. All right. Well, let's just go and label this button as Vadodora Chill Mix for right now. Vadodora Chill Mix. And what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this button. And we're going to make the other one Volatile Reaction. Sorry, that doesn't go on the text. That goes on the button. And we go ahead and... So let's move this button down or over or something. And we go to our second button here, and we call this, what is the track called? It's called Volatile Reaction. Alright. So if we hit play here, we now can choose what track's playing by clicking it. Although, yeah, it is crossfading to the new track. It's just hard to tell because it just keeps looping. And this changes the track completely. So, 15 minutes in, and I really didn't... This went in an entirely different direction than I thought it was going to go so far. So, not quite sure where to go from here. So, if we were doing a menu where it's like select music menu and we crossfade between them, we probably wouldn't want it to be able to press the button on the same track that was already playing. So what does that mean for us? Is it possible that we could do some sort of ninjutsu with our on-click handler? Let's try it. So on-click, what we're going to do is we're going to have it take itself and go to let's go to button enabled. Or is there an interactable? There is interactable. So when you hit this, button interactable will be set to 0, so off. And by volatile reaction is the one we start with, right? I'm going to call this volatile reaction button. And we're going to call this Vadodora chill mix button. Because this one's first, I'm actually going to move it higher on the screen because we read top to bottom. So let's just do that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to default volatile reaction to not interactable. So that should disable this button when we start. And button interactable, and this is the state that we're going to put it in. We're going to make sure that Vadodora chill mix becomes non-interactable. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to swap it. So we're going to do, for the volatile reaction, we're going to change this one to button interactable on. And so now we can do kind of a toggle system. We have to cross-reference these things again. So volatile reaction button, this one we're going to do button interactable off. And we're going to take our Vadodora chill mix button and we're going to do button interactable on. And so now if we hit play, all of these functions should function. So volatile reaction is already playing, so it's blacked out. And we hit Vadodora chill mix, it switches to the new track, and it's blacked out. So cool. You could do additional things too, like if we wanted to add a little playing indicator as well, we could do that. We could change, what we can do is something along the lines of, let's just create another text here. Let's just duplicate this one. And I don't think it has to be within the bounds of our button at all. Oh, it does. Do we clip? Is that how this is working? Oh, weird. So buttons naturally... Huh. I would have expected us to need a mask here. But for some reason, buttons evidently automatically mask. Is that what's going on here? That's weird. That I was not expecting at all. Wait, where is this text? Wait, maybe I'm just crazy. Am I a crazy person? Wait, what is going on here? I'm going to delete this. I'm going to look at this text. Is there anything special about this text? It doesn't look like it. I'm going to duplicate this text. We're going to move it to the right. And it clips to the right. Wait, what? Huh. How about that? Why is that happening? Is the canvas not wide enough? Canvas should be the whole screen. What? This isn't confusing. Not at all. Well, I guess I will just put it to the left of it for right now, and I will do some experimentation later and figure out what the heck is going on. So I'm just going to say, playing now. Now playing. And we'll do some ASCII. Now playing over there. And this should actually, we're going to do 2 of these. We're going to just duplicate this one, put it over here as well, and move it up to be at the same point that the other one is. So this should actually be, no, not 0, evidently, but somewhere in here. So now we have a now playing button. We're just going to, so that way people understand why it's grayed out. Let's go ahead and make this text a little bit more readable. We're going to change the color here. What reads pretty well? White reads pretty well on that blue. So now playing, and we're just going to hook this into the button as well. So we're going to do one more little event here. We're going to say this text here, which I'm going to rename to now playing and now playing. And I'm going to call these button text. And button text. So what we're going to do is on here, we've got the now playing button. We're going to just do game object set active, and we're going to turn it off. And on the same thing on this one, we're going to drag in now playing into another little event here. We're going to do game object set active off. And then we also need to turn the other one on. So we're just going to do the cross thing here. So we're going to do game object set active on, and the same thing over here. Another one. This gives us a lot of good practice for how to set up little event things. So we're going to do game object set active on. So now, in theory, so since we start with this one on, we're going to have this one disabled at first. So how do we do that? We just turn this off. So, oh wait, that's not how we want it. This one should be enabled. It's this one that should be disabled. I may have these crossed here, so let's find out if we have this backwards. So if we switch to this, if we, what just happened? Huh. What does that mean? Is there some weird collider problem going on here? Does like the text have a collider? I don't think it does. What's going on here? Hold on. Alright, I'm just going to delete these. Hit play. Okay. That's weird. That's really weird. What is up with that? So, do these things have them hooked up again? Okay, they're not hooked up, so let's see if it works if it's not hooked up. No, it's not working. So somehow this text is like blocking things. Well, it is a really big text box, so that might be part of it. But why would it block anything? Oh, maybe. Oh, I see. It's so big. Wait, so what is the button text size normally? So wait, if I move now playing, let's see what we're doing here. Sorry, this is weird. We go to game. Okay, now it's showing up when we move it. Oh, was I changing the wrong values? I was like, I must have been doing something silly. So maybe I was like moving this. No. Okay, so that's why it was disappearing, evidently. It's because when I was changing... Okay, it's because it's a stretch transform. Okay, I was using the transform wrong. So what's happening here is we made this thing so big that it's covering the other button. So that's an interesting little problem, so we can solve that pretty easily. Just resize this thing so that it's not ridiculous. And that... Okay, so we've solved the problem. Yay. I don't have to do research afterwards. That is funny though. It's just me not being used to how the rect transforms operate. So the problem is this is a stretch transform, so its object is based on these anchor points and stuff. I'm just going to have it. I'm going to change it so that it. We don't want this to resize. Well, we do want this to resize with the button. So the reason this stuff is here is so if we were to change the size of the button that contains it, like if we were to make it wider or taller, it would resize the text. But it doesn't actually resize the text because of the fact that text isn't really resizable like that. Like the text area is. And I guess that makes sense. But, so I'm just going to make it so these do not do that. We're going to just make them centered for now. And it really should probably... Actually, let's make it based on the left side of the button. And now we can just use these top as positions rather than as corners, basically. So we're going to just move this over here, make it so that it shows up. Let's make it so that it looks good on the screen. Whoops. Now playing. Whoop. And whoop. And to make it so I don't have to do this twice, I'm just going to delete this old one. We're going to duplicate it, put it into this one, and move it down here. So what we're going to do now is this one needs to be disabled by default. We need to make sure that these are rehooked up, which they're not. So this one needs to, we're going to enable now playing here. We're going to disable playing here. We're going to go to this one, do the same thing. We're going to, so when we turn on volatile reaction, we're going to enable volatile reaction and disable Vadodora. It's kind of the opposite of what we do up here. So if we hit play now, well, close. Oh, we didn't call the function because this got reset. So game object, set active, game object, set active. Same thing up here, game object, set active, and game object, set active. Hit play. There we go. So we created a little music menu using our using UI buttons. So save scene. Now, obviously, some of this behavior would be really. This would be a mess in here if you had to do a whole list of several songs, because all of a sudden you have to turn off all other songs and turn on things. So in that case, doing a little bit of scripting and enabling that would probably make things a little bit better. Maybe we'll cover that in another episode. But yeah, this was mostly an exercise in seeing how you hook buttons into functions. So remember the rules that we learned today. So you can't use static functions, so it has to be a non-static function. You only can support one variable, it seems. So you can only support one variable. Keep that in mind. And remember what we learned about rect transforms. If you're doing the resize thing, it's not position X and Y. As a matter of fact, I don't even think it's labeled as that. So if we change this to, say, scale, yeah, you'll see that it has left, top, right, bottom. This becomes a rect rather than a what we expect, where it's position and width and height. So lots of lessons to learn today from mistakes. That's what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, save project, and thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, please email me, pushypixels@pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me at Drakfire. That's DRAKFYRE. And yeah, you have a good one, and I'll catch you tomorrow with another Breakfast with Unity. Thank you very much for watching.